Me and my ex-wife 45-year-old, should I let her move in with me after our divorce? This is a throwaway account, as this story contains too much personal information to share on my main account. Of course, all names mentioned here are fake. I am a 45-year-old man, divorced with one daughter, Lily, who just turned 18. My ex-wife, Thelma, also 45, and I separated 2 years ago after being married for 20 years. I won't pretend to be perfect because I know I'm not, nor will I ever claim to be. However, I genuinely believe that I was a good husband and that I continue to be a good father to Lily. Throughout our marriage, I did my best to contribute and make things work. I handled the majority of the housework with a rough split of about 60-40ths in my favor. This wasn't because Thelma was lazy, but because I wanted to lighten her load where I could. I also worked full-time, often putting in 40 to 50 hours per week, to ensure that our family had everything we needed. I took pride in being attentive to her needs and caring toward her. I never forgot important dates like anniversaries or birthdays and always made an effort to make them special for her. I'll admit, as the years went by, I let myself go physically. My body isn't what it once was and I'm aware of that. I also know that I'm not the most thrilling or adventurous person in the world. I'm more of a steady, reliable guy, the type who listens and tries to provide what his partner needs to feel loved and secure. That's who I am, and I thought that was enough. From everything Thelma told me, she seemed happy in our marriage. She often bragged to her friends about how good of a husband I was, praising me for my efforts and commitment. Looking back, I suppose those words were nothing more than a facade. 2 years ago, I discovered that Thelma had been unfaithful. She decided she wanted to pursue a relationship with a 30-year-old man she met at her workplace. To say I was blindsided would be an understatement. I thought we were doing well, that our marriage was solid despite its imperfections. But apparently she had other plans. I can't say for sure when her feelings for me began to fade or if there was something I could have done differently to prevent it. All I know is that, in the end, she made her choice. That betrayal cut deep, and the divorce that followed was one of the most challenging periods of my life. I've had to reflect on myself, our marriage, and what it all meant. While I recognize my own shortcomings, I still stand by the fact that I gave my best to her and to our family. Now, 2 years later, I've moved forward in some ways, but the scars are still there. I'm focused on being the best father I can be to Lily and rebuilding my life. It hasn't been easy, but I'm doing my best to navigate this new chapter. When I caught Thelma in her affair, I didn't engage in what some call the pick-me dance. I didn't beg her to stay, suggest therapy, or make any attempts to salvage what was already broken. Instead, I made the decision to divorce, opting for a cordial and respectful termination of our marriage. For the sake of our daughter, I kept my emotions in check, remaining civil and calm throughout the process. Thelma, surprisingly, was angry that I didn't fight to save the marriage. I think she expected me to grovel or plead, but I wasn't interested in prolonging the pain or dragging things out. Eventually, she agreed to a peaceful split. The divorce itself was quick and straightforward. Thelma walked away with 75% of our savings in her car, while I kept our house, my old truck, and 25% of the savings. In exchange, I assumed all the marital debt, which I felt was a fair compromise to avoid further conflict. When it came to custody, we agreed on a 50-50 arrangement, though our daughter, Lily, had the freedom to choose where she wanted to stay. She decided to live with me full-time, with Thelma having visitation rights. While Lily was still underage at the time, I trusted her judgment completely. She's a smart, capable young woman, and I've always been proud of her ability to make informed decisions for herself. If she ever wanted to visit her mother, she was free to do so, and I supported her in that. Thelma moved into an apartment with her affair partner, Larry, shortly after the divorce was finalized. That was about 2 years ago. Since then, I've focused on rebuilding my life. I made a conscious effort to prioritize my health, losing the 30 pounds I had put on during the later years of our marriage. It wasn't easy, but the process gave me a sense of control and accomplishment during a turbulent time. I've also ventured into the dating world again, though I've kept things casual. I've had a few dates, but nothing serious, and I'm perfectly fine with that. After what happened with Thelma, I have no desire to ever marry again. Once bitten, twice shy, as the saying goes. For now, I'm content with focusing on my relationship with Lily, maintaining my health, and rediscovering the parts of myself that were overshadowed during my marriage. It's been a journey, but I feel like I'm in a better place now. Life isn't perfect, but I'm learning to appreciate the peace and stability I've managed to create. That brings us to this week. Last night, I received a call from Lily, who told me that Thelma had been in the emergency room a couple of days ago. From what I've been able to gather, things took a sharp turn for the worse after our divorce. Larry, the man Thelma left me for, began to reveal his true nature over time. It started with verbal and emotional abuse, but several weeks ago, it escalated to physical violence. On Tuesday, Larry crossed a dangerous line. This time it wasn't just slaps or minor altercations, he seriously hurt Thelma. Without going into the specifics of her injuries, I will say that they were severe enough for the emergency room staff to keep her overnight. Charges were pressed against Larry, even though Thelma didn't request it herself. It seems the situation was so bad that it was out of her hands. Now, Thelma finds herself in a dire situation. She has nowhere to go, and her finances are almost entirely depleted due to her spending habits since our divorce. The apartment she was living in was under Larry's name, so she can't return there. At the moment, she's staying in a cheap hotel room, but that option won't last long. She'll have to leave in the next couple of days because she doesn't have the money to continue paying for it. Her father passed away 6 years ago, and her mother is in an assisted living facility, unable to help. Her sister lives 600 miles away, and Thelma can't move because her job ties her to this area. She doesn't have any close friends who can take her in either. As for Lily, she's living in a dorm while attending college, so letting her mother stay with her isn't an option. Essentially, Thelma has run out of options. If she doesn't find someone willing to take her in soon, she'll end up homeless or in a shelter. This is where I come in. According to Lily, I am, quite literally, Thelma's last hope. Lily called me to ask if I would be willing to let Thelma stay with me temporarily until she can find an apartment or another place to go. The request caught me off guard, and I've been wrestling with the decision ever since. On the one hand, I can't ignore the fact that Thelma is the mother of my child, and we shared 2 decades of our lives together. Regardless of how things ended between us, I don't wish homelessness or further suffering upon her. I know that allowing her to stay with me even for a short time would give her the chance to get back on her feet and rebuild her life. On the other hand, opening my home to her feels like inviting chaos back into my life. The betrayal and pain she caused still linger, and I've worked hard to create a peaceful, stable environment for myself. Letting her back into my home even temporarily could disrupt that peace. I also worry about the possibility of her overstaying or relying on me beyond what I'm willing to offer. So here I am, faced with a difficult choice. Should I open my home to Thelma, knowing it could help her avoid homelessness and give her a chance to recover? Or should I prioritize my own boundaries and peace of mind, even if it means she has to find another way? I'd appreciate hearing your thoughts on this. What would you do in my situation? I am not so cold-hearted as to take any pleasure in Thelma's current situation. To be honest, I feel closer to apathy than anything else. Part of me wants to shrug and say, "Not my monkey, not my circus," and simply walk away. Still, I can't ignore how much it would hurt Lily to see her mother suffering or ending up on the streets. That alone weighs heavily on my mind. Over the past day or so, I've spoken to friends and family to get their input. The responses have varied widely. Some say, "You have room, so move her in and help her out." Others suggest, "Pay for her first month's rent and the deposit on an apartment to get her started, but don't bring her into your home." And then there's the more extreme advice like, "Screw her and her ugly tattoo, let her figure it out." One friend in particular offered the ridiculous suggestion of moving her in and making her pay with booty. Of course, this is the same dumbass friend everyone has, the one whose advice you listen to purely for comic relief before promptly ignoring it. I'm going to go ahead and try to head off what I am guessing will be questions people may ask. 1. Thelma may have cheated, but she is a good mother. Thelma is not a narc or evil person. She is a human that did something selfish and stupid. I have forgiven her but have not forgotten. 2. There is zero chance that I end up back with Thelma. That ship sailed, ran into an iceberg, burst into flames, and was then attacked by a mechanical megalodon before it sank. 3. Thelma has wanted to escape Larry for a long time, but did not have a chance until he was arrested. He is currently sitting in lockup, unable to post bail. She is getting some sort of protective order. I have no idea if they still work together. He edits this post in 4 hours. I've appreciated the thoughtful replies I've received so far. They've helped me to process this complex situation. I've decided to meet with Thelma after her shift ends tonight. We're going to Waffle House, which will mark the first real face-to-face conversation I've had with her in over a year. Up until now, our contact has been limited to text messages strictly about Lily. This meeting is a significant step, and I'm preparing myself for whatever comes out of it. In the meantime, I'm also working on an alternative plan to ensure Thelma doesn't end up homeless without bringing her into my house. I don't want to see her on the streets, but I also value the peace and stability I've worked hard to create in my home. I want to clarify a few things because I've seen some assumptions that don't align with reality. I do not hate Thelma. While I no longer care for her as I once did, I don't harbor hatred or resentment toward her. She is an excellent mother, and aside from her affair, she was a good wife. Her infidelity was a deal breaker for me, which is why I divorced her, but that doesn't negate the positive aspects of who she is. Lily understands and fully supports my decision never to rekindle a romantic relationship with Thelma. That ship has sailed and there's no going back. My sole focus in this situation is Lily's well-being. For her, I am willing to consider all options, no matter how difficult or inconvenient they may be. As I head into this conversation with Thelma, my mind is open, but my boundaries are clear. My priority is ensuring my daughter's happiness and stability while finding a solution that allows Thelma to regain her footing without compromising my own hard-earned peace. He posted an update. Years ago, my father made a decision to buy a house for his younger brother, who has dealt with various mental and physical issues throughout his life. My father, understanding the challenges my uncle faced, wanted to ensure that his brother would have a stable living situation, even as he got older. As my father aged, he added my name to the deed of the property to make sure that someone could step in and keep a roof over my uncle's head if anything happened to him. Now, as my uncle has retired and is getting older, he has expressed a desire to move in with his sister and live in a basement apartment at her house, which would be ideal for him. The initial plan was to sell the house and divide the proceeds, giving half to my uncle. But as often happens, plans changed. The property required quite a bit of investment, and ultimately I decided to buy out my uncle's half, removing him from the deed. To make sure that the property would remain in the family and serve a useful purpose, I added my daughter Lily as a co-owner. Now the property is jointly owned by Lily and me, which sets her up for the future, providing her with a place of her own should she ever need it. Meanwhile, Thelma signed a rental agreement and moved into the house, paying a modest rent. The rent is much lower than the market rate, but it covers the costs of insurance and general upkeep. This arrangement allows Thelma to have a safe and affordable place to live, while keeping her out of my house, which is a relief for both of us. It also provides Lily with peace of mind, knowing her mother is secure and has a place to live. Over the past few weeks, Thelma has been using her employer's assistance program to attend therapy sessions, helping her deal with some of the emotional and mental health challenges she faced during her time with Larry. I am fully confident that she is no longer involved with him, and she has made it clear that he will not be a part of her life going forward. Thelma seems like a different person now, more grateful for what she has and more focused on rebuilding her life. I don't quite know how to describe it, but there's a noticeable shift in her attitude. She is taking responsibility for her actions, working on herself, and trying to make positive changes. As for me, I feel content knowing that Lily is happy and set up for a bright future. Yes, it cost me quite a bit financially, but that's just money. If it means I need to work a few extra years to make sure Lily has the best possible start in life, I'll do it. In the end, it will be worth it to know that I gave my daughter the best foundation I could, so she can thrive and succeed on her own terms. A few days ago, I was in a minor accident and it left me a little banged up. Thelma came over to cook for me and we ended up talking for a while. During that conversation, we discussed where we are in our lives and how things have changed. She's still a beautiful woman both inside and out. I know that people can be quick to judge cheaters, often branding them with the scarlet letter and declaring them unworthy of forgiveness. But Thelma is not one of those people. She made a selfish, foolish mistake, but she is a good person at heart. She has paid the price for what she did, and both Lily and I have forgiven her. We've all moved on from the past. Now, I have a question that some people may find surprising. What if Thelma starts dating again? Honestly, so what? She's not my wife anymore. We are not in a committed relationship. She's free to date or not date as she chooses. I have no claim over her life anymore. As far as Thelma and I getting back together, the answer is clear. No. I will never marry again. Anyone. For any reason. I've been burned by the concept of marriage, and I cannot bring myself to enter into that kind of commitment again. I'm not bitter about it. I'm actually happy for those who find joy in their marriages, but for me, marriage is off the table. I don't think I want to be in any committed relationship either. I may casually date or have a friends with benefits arrangement if the opportunity arises, but I'm perfectly content living solo. I've learned to enjoy my own company and value the relationships I have with friends and family. In the end, my main focus is ensuring Lily's happiness and well-being. Everything else is secondary. I'm proud of the life I've built for her and for myself, and I look forward to what the future holds. Thank you for listening the story to the end. If you enjoy our videos, so don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a good day, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it and hit the notification bell icon to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.